Hi everybody and welcome back to the 75th season of Bearcat Update. I'm your host Jason Holland and today we'll be updating you on how seasons are looking for our fall sports. From soccer's dominant second half performance to cross country's historical end to conference and everything in between.
Jason, guess what?
Wiley, we're live. What's so important?
KNWT just hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. It's a Bearcat party over here, man.
Cue the intro. The Bearcat volleyball team traveled 45 minutes down Highway 71 to take on the Missouri Western Griffins yesterday. Northwest had high hopes coming into this one after winning a 5-round thriller against the Griffins earlier in the season. That confidence was shut down quickly though as Western let the Cats down hard in a 3-0 sweep. The girls in green just couldn't seem to get it going in their first visit to Missouri Western Fieldhouse since 2017, hitting only 103 with 25 attack errors. Junior Ella Caffrey showed glimpses of hope with 33 assists and 9 digs, but the loss leaves the Cats at 12-8 on the year and 6-4 in league play. Northwest is back in action Tuesday as they travel to Topeka to take on Washburn. For more on volleyball, we send it over to our reporter Zac Scott as he sits down with the senior defensive specialist, Kristen Ford. Over to you, Zac.
Welcome back to Tenacity, the show where we keep you up to date with everything Bearcat volleyball. Last week, we recapped volleyball season as they officially hit the halfway marker for the season. This week, I got to sit down with senior defensive specialist Kristen Ford to see her outlook for Northwest season.
We feel pretty good, especially because I feel like we have kind of been building every week, slowly been getting better. I mean, we didn't start off to our standards the greatest, but we came back pretty strong and figured things out quickly. These next games are going to be really exciting for us because these are definitely the top teams in our conference right now, so we're going to have some good competition, which is always exciting.
And an exciting game it was. After the Bearcats played the Missouri Western Griffins yesterday, it was proven that the Bearcats are indeed moving steady. But Ford knows the hardest part of the game is always what comes next.
I would definitely say the challenge is just to put 2 consecutive strong games together back to back, just because those are very strong components in our competitors in our conference, but we definitely always talk about just being aggressive and winning that first set.
And Ford is correct, because in all the MIAA games Northwest has played, they have a higher chance of winning after taking the first set. Ford's words prove that starting strong means ending strong. One of Ford's best weapons is her serve, which head coach Amy Worth helps out with words of encouragement.
Amy just reminds all of us to, when we go back there, to take our time and then be aggressive and really drive that ball close to the net so it really can get teams out of system. She doesn't necessarily look for us to get aces all the time just because it's hard in our conference, we have a really good conference, but she wants us to focus on getting them out of system more.
But it's not just Coach Worth's words that spur on players like Ford, but rather the winning mentality that she already has going into tough games.
Just to bring lots of energy and effort, as a defender, your job is to dig every ball you can and get touches and just keep that play alive. So I think for all of us back there that play in the backcourt, it's just to keep that ball alive and give our hitters the best opportunity to go get kills and score points.
And whenever it comes down to the wire, Ford knows that she can trust the support of her friends and teammates with the culture they have built.
I think one thing that I feel we've learned this year is just the importance of team culture. Not that we've ever had bad team culture here at Northwest. I just think this year we really have a supportive group in that everyone wants the person next to them to be their best at all times so this team can succeed.
Now that's all the time I have for today. My name is Zac Scott and I'm bringing it back to you, Jason.
The Bearcat soccer team remained dominant at Bearcat Pitch on Friday, beating Missouri Southern 4-1. It was a tale of 2 halves as all 5 goals were scored in the second 45 minutes. Sophomore middle fielder Jimena Arnu led the charge for the Bearcats, accounting for 2 assists and 1 goal on 4 shots. Senior Lindsay Mashburn contributed to the scoring barrage with an 84th minute free kick, resulting in her 2nd career goal. The Cats set a new season best 13 shots on goal, and this marks the Bearcats' 8th straight unbeaten match as they look to extend the streak against Pitt State today at Bearcat Pitch. After a tough homecoming loss to UCM last week, the Bearcat football team looks to redeem themselves against Northeastern State next weekend at Bearcat Stadium. The bye week this week has given a chance for the Cats to heal up and prepare early for the surging Riverhawks. Although the 4-4 record does not reflect the type of season Northwest is used to, the Cats still have a chance to beat 3 tough opponents and play spoiler to a Pitt State team who is on the fringe of the playoffs. Heal up, boys, and good luck next weekend. For a recap on the season so far, we send it over to our reporter, Reece Hill.
Thank you, Jason. Here we are at the bye weekend for your very own Northwest football team, which currently sits at 4-4. One thing you can say for sure about this year's rendition of Bearcat football is that this squad has been nothing if not polarizing. It was a rough start to the season, dropping the first 2 contests to Minnesota State and Nebraska Kearney, and opening the season 0-2 for the first time since 1995. But the Bearcats would bounce back, going on a 4-game winning streak, which saw Northwest outscore their opponents by 93 points. The improvement to 4-2 included 2 wins against top 25 opponents. The highlight of the run for Northwest came on Family Day, where the Bearcats handed Emporia State their first and only loss to date heading into this weekend. In the last 2 weeks, Northwest has been defeated in both matchups, including a heartbreaking 35-30 homecoming loss to Central Missouri most recently, which brings us to where we are today. A strength of this Bearcats team this season has been its defense, ranking 2nd in yards allowed in the MIAA at 309 per game and 4th in sacks. The defense has allowed just a 35.3% conversion rate on 3rd downs and has recovered the 2nd most fumbles. On the other hand, a couple of weaknesses for the Bearcats so far have been red zone efficiency and turnovers. On 37 trips to the red zone this season, Northwest has punched the ball in for a touchdown just 19 times and turned the ball over 8 times. The Bearcats are giving the ball away just under 3 times a game, but more importantly is where these turnovers are occurring. In 4 losses this year, the ball has been turned over 7 times inside opponent territory, 5 of those coming inside the red zone. These turnovers in scoring position are the difference between 4-4 and 6-2 for the Bearcats right now, with 2 losses being by just 7 points or less. Keys to a strong finish in these final 3 weeks will be red zone efficiency, paying off those long drives with touchdowns, and ball security, cutting down on costly turnovers that can be the difference in close games. So, looking ahead, I'm projecting wins over Northeastern State and another win over Missouri Western, and a season-ending loss to Pittsburgh State to round up the 2024 Bearcat schedule with a 6-5 record. Sending it back to you, Jason.
Thanks, Reece. Hey, it's halftime. If you like what you see, make sure to subscribe and click the bell to be the first to know when we post new content. But as we head into our first break of the show, make sure to stick around to catch our meeting with the cheer team. We'll be right back.
Running since 1971, broadcast 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Featuring programs and news from National Public Radio, as well as Americana, jazz, and classical music. KXCV 90.5 FM Maryville, KNRW 88.9 FM Chillicothe.
Television connects. We put our heart and soul into delivering a quality broadcast just for you. Whether it's sports, community events, and much more, we have fun bringing these events to you. KNWT Live brings that feeling of being at Northwest anywhere you go. So join us in the experience.
Welcome back to Bearcat Update. Our reporter Jack Walker sat down with another one of his teammates on the cheer team so you can get to know them and their story. Take it away, Jake.
Welcome back to Meet the Cheer Team. For this week's interview, we sat down with one of the veterans of the program. Hi, my name's Emma Craven. I'm a senior on the Bearcat cheer team, and I am a back spot as well as an early childhood education major.
Emma's journey to Northwest is one that showcases her incredible loyalty to the sport of cheer.
So at first I was actually a swimmer, so I swam competitively, and then whenever I got into high school, I just saw the cheer team and I thought it looked like fun. So then I decided to join cheer, and my coach on the team was actually like, hey, like, you can't choose cheer over swim, like, you're not allowed to do that. And then I ended up choosing cheer over swim, so just really enjoyed it, and then decided, yeah, to try out for the Northwest cheer team, and just made it, and here I am.
A part of being a collegiate athlete is the battles that we go through both physically and mentally. But Emma goes into every one with a smile on her face.
I feel like this actually isn't something that I think about a ton, but then whenever I do think about it, I'm like, wow, it is a really mental sport. I feel like one that I've been feeling recently is it can be scary if you've thrown a stunt, gotten hurt by it. It's scary to like throw it again. So I feel like that's one where I'm like, wow, this is something that is a common theme, that it can be hard for me to try as hard as I can to hit the stunt and out of just fear. And then that also comes with tumbling. I feel like there's a lot of girls on the team that have different mental blocks. And it can just be hard because you're throwing yourself backwards, and I don't think people recognize that it's harder to get over a mental block than it is like a physical block. So I feel like I see it a lot in stunting and in tumbling, where it's like that is the hardest thing, and then physical comes after that. And it usually comes because of a scenario that like you got hurt, and so you don't want that to happen again.
After spending 4 years at Northwest, Emma shares some of the connections that she has made with her teammates.
I feel like a friendship that started my freshman year that's continued is Kelby Dresser. She's someone who I met my freshman year, and I feel like I just really looked up to her and like her leadership skills, the way she communicated with people. There's just so many friendships that come with cheer. So many really special ones. I feel like that's the reason why I do it the most is the girls on the team and the guys. The guys are great too. Yeah, they're just really special, and I feel like you bond in a lot of different ways, and you understand what the other person is going through, because not everyone understands cheer, so you can connect on that mental physical battle.
While the friendships she has made are important to her, Emma's biggest foundation of support comes from her Lord and Savior.
I feel like my relationship with God, I feel like it's something that I try to not keep a section in my life, but let it flow to all areas of my life. And I feel like, yeah, a big way that I do that is to just build friendships with other people. You know, Jesus was around all different types of people, trying to show his love to them. So I feel like that is a way that I try to incorporate my relationship with God in cheer, is just, yeah, being someone who is inviting and teachable to others, and just really trying to show Christ-like character to the people around me on the cheer team. So I feel like that's the biggest way of just trying to build connections and share the relationship with God that I've experienced, and help them experience that as well.
That's going to wrap up our time with Bearcat Cheer. We're going to swing this one back over to your host. Take it away, Jason.
Our all girl. I can't do it.
Thanks, Jake. The women's basketball team will take on Livin' the Dream in an exhibition match tomorrow in Bearcat Arena. Livin' the Dream is a women's exhibition team comprised of former college and current professional players that travel to compete against top-level college and professional organizations. The game is non-ticketed, but it is asked that one canned food item is provided for entry, and it starts at 7. The Cats do all this in preparation for their November 2nd season opener against Ashland in the D2CCA Tip-Off Classic. Good luck, ladies. The Bearcat cross-country team broke records and smashed expectations this week at the MIAA Championships. Senior Grant Bradley took first place in the 8K with a time of 23 minutes and 21 seconds, only 4 seconds behind the all-time MIAA record. Juniors Nate Mueller and Drew Atkins followed close behind, taking 3rd and 4th place. Senior Elena Tybbold and Junior Lydia McLaughlin both finished top 5 on the women's side of things. This marks the first time the men's cross-country team has taken home the MIAA crown in 52 years. Great job to all the athletes. When we come back from commercial break, myself and Wiley Ray of X106.7 are going to sit down to go in-depth on everything from volleyball to a preview of the upcoming basketball season. We'll be back shortly.
KZLX is a student-run radio station where Northwest students have complete freedom during their shifts. KZLX also hosts many radio shows such as Nerdmageddon, Revive, Day-to-Day Picks, and more. To learn more, visit kzlxfm.com.
Are you tired of the same boring old TV? Tired of watching the same recycled content? Then try Gen 2! Gen 2 is your favorite place for all things gaming and tech related. Come check out our wide variety of games and reviews, catch the latest in gaming and tech news. And if you call right now for the low price of $0 down, you will even get 7 free, yes free, of our very own handcrafted shows and stories for your viewing pleasure. Don't miss out and call now to get the entire Gen 2 package for free! Gen 2, the full package just for you.
Welcome back to Bearcat Update. I'm Wiley Ray, and with me is Jason Holland. And Jason, the Bearcats fell to a top 25 Missouri Western team yesterday in St. Joseph, as we mentioned earlier, and it was kind of an inconsistent day for the Bearcats as they hit 103 with 25 attack errors.
Yeah, I mean, getting swept in volleyball is always something you want to avoid, especially after earlier in the season. It went down to 5 sets, and they ended up taking it. And they had that confidence going into the road. They knew this team, and going and getting swept is nothing you want to see. But Kyla Ring was a highlight of that. If you want to fill us in a little bit on that.
Yeah, Kyla Ring, going 10th all time for the Bearcats in digs, and that was really just kind of the highlight of the day for Northwest Missouri State. And for that reason, she's my MVP of the weekend. And Kyla Ring overall this season has just been a force to be reckoned with on the court, and just really has helped lift the Bearcats' spirits at that time of need, or really get them out of those tough situations they find themselves in often.
Yeah, and especially we're going to need her to step up, and the Bearcats specifically, going into this playoff push, because I believe we have, a month left in volleyball season before MIAA starts going, and that MIAA championship starts play. And they're looking at I believe, 12-6 record right now. They're 6-4 in conference play. It doesn't bring them out of the push, and we've seen that with these Bearcat volleyball teams historically. They've either been on an uptick towards the end of the season, or they've gone down, and I think specifically with this team, they've got a really good chance to be on that uptick, and I'm really excited to see how they play.
Yeah, you talk about the MIAA tournament, which we have the honor as KNWT members to be a part of that with the MIAA network, bringing them the great tournament in St. Joe later in November. But when you look at Northwest's schedule, they have 2 top 25 wins to former number 24 Washburn, and then a top 15 win early on in the season as you look to West Florida in 5 sets. So really, this Bearcat volleyball team, they can really make a push in the MIAA tournament and possibly win out the MIAA tournament and maybe make a postseason run in Division II.
Yeah, that would be big, especially for Coach Worth, as she's the winningest coach in Bearcat history with volleyball, and that would not only cement her legacy this season, but potentially cement her legacy all time. You can be all-time wins, but being successful and having that all-time success is massive whenever it comes to this, and I think this year is the year to do it. With some of these senior stars and some of these younger girls that we have right here, I definitely think this is the year to make that push for the championship.
Oh, for sure about that. When you have the senior class that Coach Worth has, and just over the past couple years, it's been a rebuilding year after rebuilding year, and even this year, some may say it's a rebuilding year, but this Bearcat squad, they have a lot of veterans, they have quality players, and Avery Kemp, Olivia Durr, Gabrielle Gartner, and then Kyla Ring. Just you look at that squad and company, and the Bearcat volleyball team really is in a good position to make a push, like I said, to the MIAA in postseason action. And just as they get through the rest of this home stretch, I'm excited to see how this team competes.
I am too, and especially you talked about Olivia Durr. I remember watching her these past few years since I've been in college and doing Bearcat Update and being able to cover the team with this. She's such a fun player to watch. She's electric out on the field, you can tell, especially being a senior. They look to her for that leadership, and just overall, I'm really excited to see what she can do down the push, as well as some of the other members of the team and just the team in general.
You talked about other members on this team, and another one to really look at is Ella Caffrey. I mean, when you look at how she played against Missouri Western, she secured 33 assists and 9 digs. And when you look at that on paper and on the court, that really does help a team out working towards that goal. And, getting those assists, they matter at the end of the day. And, when you play a quality Missouri Western team and you played them in 3 quality sets, taking out the first one in a 25-15 loss, that really does help lift the offense and really also keeps them in shape when it comes to the receiving the serves and, just receiving the receiving end of things.
Yeah. So Wiley, looking ahead, especially going to that playoff push we mentioned earlier, What do you expect the team to do going into the MIAA tournament? Kind of how do you expect them to play?
Yeah, last year when we covered them as KZLX, they really were a scrappy bunch. They really worked hard. They gave great effort, and really looking into this year, that's that same bunch, same mentality, same athleticism. And so when you really just look at the record, a lot of people will overlook them, but I think the Bearcats really are in the push. They're in the hunt. 12-8, 6-4 in the MIAA, but really this squad can do a lot of great things come postseason action. And I think it's kind of like March Madness, and you look at football when it comes to the college football playoff. College playoff volleyball is just as crazy, and it really is going to help test the Bearcats. But I think the Bearcats are ready to go in this one.
Awesome. And talking about another team on the court, what are we looking like for basketball season this year? Especially a men's team that is having a brand new head coach, brand new coaching staff this season, with, of course, the exit of Ben McCollum. And we have newcomer Matt Healy in here. And I know getting to spend time with them at practice, I'm very excited to see how they play this year. I'm curious what your thoughts on that are.
One thing that I've said this on KZLX and KNWT, one really big thing I'm looking forward to is a difference in coaching. Matt Keeley, he came in OKG. He's our kind of guy, and I stand by that. I'm looking for bruiser ball. I'm looking for big post game. McCollum was long range. Hey, we got the athleticism and the speed, but we can also shoot beyond the arc. And when you look at the guys on this team, you really just see a lot of bigger athletes and those who are going to work in the paint, that bruiser ball mentality. And I'm really excited for that one.
Yeah, and like I mentioned, getting to spend time with them at practice. One of the guys I'm really excited to see this year is sophomore Jack Radigan. He came in as freshman a few years ago, redshirted last year, put up a few points, but coming into this year, I got the opportunity to mic him up during practice. Get to hear his communication and the way that his teammates talk to him on the court, the way he interacts with the rest of his team. And even talking to Keeley before I did that, you could tell he's somebody, even as a sophomore, they're going to look to as a leader on that team. I mean, he was constant communication, hyping the guys up. But on top of that, another big man we got going in there is Moustakis, man. He is going to be another key piece of this team. And I'm excited to see what Luke and Jack can both do this season, because looking at the way that they play during practice and getting that little bit of insight, it's looking like it's going to be a different team. I know McCollum was a very three-point heavy team. You shot on the perimeter, drive to open basket if you can. But this team looks like they're going to be really fast, pass the ball around a lot, and utilize those big guys down in the middle of the court, as well as dumping it off to some of those outlets, backdoor passes. It's going to be quite a different team this year.
Yeah, I mean, you even look at Byron Alexander, the senior from KC Mo. I mean, he was absent for the first half of the season last year with a foot injury, but having him back this year for his senior year, we both know he's going to go all out. And truthfully, I'm excited for the big man ball to come back to Maryville. I'm looking forward to it personally as a former postman, but I'm really looking forward to it. But that'll do it here for BCU with the X. We're going to send it over to Jaden, who brings us next week's edition of Bearcat Athletics. So take it away, Jaden.
Thanks, Wiley. Welcome back to Next Week in Bearcat Sports. We've got a busy week coming up, so let's get right to it. Football will be back this week after taking on the bye week. Their opponent is Northeastern State. The Riverhawks have had a rough year, being in several close games throughout the season and being on the losing end. They haven't passed the ball well and have gone with a running back by committee approach. So far, 3 different players having 200-plus yards on the ground. The Bearcats currently sit at 4-4 on the year and are looking to get back in the win column after losing back-to-back games. Untimely turnovers and penalties have plagued them these last few weeks. Despite the recent losing streak, the Bearcat defense remains in the top 5 in the MIAA, with the run defense being in the #1 spot. If the Bearcats indeed find a way to get a win against Northeastern, it will take my spotlight player and Bearcat Update's very own Luke Mathews to have a 100-yard game, as I predict a Bearcat win 38-25. Soccer is in action today. That game started at 1. They really like playing when our show is live. Nevertheless, make sure you go out and support them after you get done here. Now, soccer only has 2 games left in their season, so let's talk about that. They'll head to Washburn Friday to take on the Ichabods. The last time these two faced off ended in a 1-1 tie, which is the 4th tie between the two since 2004. Now, Washburn is a very good team, sitting at 9-2-2. It will take a lot to get a win, so once again, I'll take Katrina Theoharidis as my spotlight player against Washburn. Looking at next Sunday against Emporia State, the Bearcats lost 3-0. Now, Emporia State has an odd season sitting at 5-2. Look for McKenna West to make an impact as my spotlight player against Emporia State. Volleyball will be very busy this week as they will also be taking on Washburn and Emporia State. We seem to have a nice little theme this week. Volleyball has been playing great this season as we get closer to the MIAA tournament. Looking at the matchup against Washburn, when they have played each other earlier this season, the Bearcats came away with a win after taking the match 3-2. Cassidy Mowinkle recorded 13 kills in that matchup, and she's my spotlight player for this matchup, as she's been an underrated piece of this volleyball team. Taking a look at the Emporia State matchup, they also played earlier in the year with the Hornets getting the better of the Bearcats 3-1. Abby Brunson was the one bright spot of that series, and I expect her to do that again, as she's my spotlight player against Emporia State. As always, make sure you're supporting your Bearcats as we get closer to the end of the season for many sports. I'm Jaden Varner, and this has been Next Week in Bearcat Sports.
KNWT's other content as well. Thank you all for watching, and we'll be back in no time.